Green Bay is a small town, only 100,000 people. Those 100,000 people may be different in many ways, but there's one thing that brings them all together: the Green Bay Packers. In Titletown, the blue-collar city only knows hard work, tailgating, championships, but more importantly, they know family.
We have a saying in this town: faith, family, and the Green Bay Packers are all that you need. Sanjay and I grew up in Green Bay. You could say that we are Green Bay, or even better, the voices of Green Bay. We bring a local feel of Packer fandom to a worldwide audience.
Friendship, family, and football.
Ladies and gentlemen,
This is the Freezer Podcast. What is up? I am back. This is the Freezer Podcast, where we bring you a local feel of Packer fandom to a worldwide audience, and it's just me tonight. No Fred, no Matt today. They have other things that are going on right now. Fred is sick. Hopefully he can get better and be back with us next week for what will be the season debut show. So definitely don't miss next week when we preview the Bears in Chicago, and we'll finally get to see regular season football. So yeah, it's going to be just me tonight. I don't know how long we'll go for the show, but we have a lot to talk about because, you know, there was a game, and then we have cut downs that we'll probably do a little bit of predictions. There might not be as many predictions or like crazy outlandish predictions that maybe we thought. Really, it's just kind of, and are they ever really in a football season? Really, the cuts that you're thinking about are guys that are, you know, third or fourth, you know, in the depth chart. So is it very rare? Are you trying to figure out, oh, who's going to be the starting? Like now, teams like Houston Texans or, you know, Carolina Panthers, things like that, you know, teams like that, sorry, they probably have a little bit more interesting cut downs because a lot of those guys might actually, you know, be their starting guys. Now, it is a little bit different now being a younger team because now we've already seen today with the big cut, Pat O'Donnell gets the cut, and I had him on my team as the 53-man punter. So that was a pretty big one. Clearly, it was a salary dump. I would think maybe they had enough interest or enough faith in Dan Whelan that they were like, oh, hey, you know what? Let's go younger. We've already gone younger with the kicker. Why not with the punter? I'm sure Pat O'Donnell was the safer route, just like Mason Crosby would. But to really get yourself moving to the future and getting yourself younger as a squad, get yourself cheaper as a squad too. I mean, Pat O'Donnell, I think was like a 1.6, I think 1.8, I think. Let me see. Just about. It was a good enough amount of savings where you're like, okay, hey, we make the cut, we can save some money here. Maybe you can put that towards next year for guys that, you know, you want to sign long term, right? So 1.2. Thank you, Iowa Joe. Thank you so much. So it was a big cut, and that will factor into the cuts that we make later on today in the show. So stick around for the predictions. But we did have a game. We had our final game. Seattle Seahawks were in town. Milwaukee season ticket holders, this was your game. I guess you guys showed out. I might have to start changing my tune about you guys, honestly. I heard it was pretty rowdy there. I think you guys stayed a while because I actually went up to Green Bay during the afternoon because I'm like, you know, I could go around 3:00. The game should be done. Should really only see traffic coming the other way. And I still saw traffic when I was on my way out at like 5:00. So you guys stuck around for the most part. And you guys even cheered because they had to get the Matt LaFleur, or sorry, the Jordan Love we're on offense video thing on the Jumbotron. So even you guys screwed up because we did too, the green package owners. So good to see that the fans are actually staying a while. Maybe you only stayed because it was a 12:00 on a Saturday. If it was Sunday at 3:00, you know you guys were out. You guys were out at probably midway through third. Don't lie to yourself. But anyway, good to see the crowd coming out there for support. Matt LaFleur has always said, you know, you guys are the best, and as we know, we are the best. But yeah, Seahawks were in town. It was interesting to see the offense stay out as long as they did, but it was good because, like I said, for over like I guess the duration of preseason, they need the reps. They need this time to get yourself ready. For so many years, we were just look like, hey, Rodgers doesn't need to go out there. Maybe he might go out there for a series. Oh, wait, no, he won't, because he thinks he's good, and we'll just figure it out once it gets to week one. Oh, wait. We get trounced week one, and then panic sets in, and then we have to get ready by week 2/3 and really get the ball rolling by week 4. No, I think this is why I wore the Matt LaFleur shirt today, because I was thinking this is truly the best way to see how a guy's going to run its team. No longer are you having the Hall of Famer quarterback running the show and telling you how things are going to be. Not saying that he was telling them how to run the team, but hey, telling them how to run the offense. Showing what you can do, getting yourself ready and prepared for, the long, grueling season where your bye week is early, but you're not going to get to see a bye week after that for, whatever. I think our bye week's like week 6. So you're not going to see it for a long time after that. So unless you get into the playoffs and get a first round bye, which I don't know if that's possible, but I think it's really nice to see Matt LaFleur really get this team under his, vision and really see that, hey, look, we got to see everybody out there. That includes AJ Dillon. He was out there. Aaron Jones did not play. I think they've seen enough and they know what they have from him. The 2 plays in 2 games is surely enough for Matt LaFleur's eyes. But Jordan Love was out there. The number one offensive line was out there. Rasheed Walker also getting the start at left tackle. This is becoming a thing. And I think what you're seeing with that specific move is possibly the departure of David Bakhtiari and possibly a potential trade for a different kind of asset in Yosh Nijman. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes here, but it was really good to see the first team offensive liner out there, as well as the wide receivers. With the tight ends too, I think it was kind of interesting because I have some duds for the game, and one of them happened to be Tucker Kraft, and not like in like a bad way, but like, he had the false start. He had a different penalty later on in the game as well. It's just I guess the growing pains of a rookie, right? I'm not saying that he's bad. It was just a matter of if I had to pick some, stars and duds, that would have been one of them because it was like the first play of the game or second play, and you're like, okay, I thought you guys are usually pretty good in the opening gates of a football game. But again, he's learning. The offense is learning. Hopefully this is stuff that he cleans up. And then once it gets to, the crunch time of the actual season, now we have to start, making these mistakes, not mistakes anymore. Right. So I think it was nice also to see that the offense was really trying to push a 2-minute drill. I think their second or third possession, it was trying to get that 2-minute drill to kind of see like, hey, we're not going to wait till the end of the quarter or end of the half to actually get this moment because we're not going to keep our quarterback out there that long. So let's see this. They've been practicing it in the joint practices. Obviously, they practice it every day in practice, but you don't really get to see those live reps against another team and actually have the game clock and game speed really, showing, especially with the fans cheering or, the opposing defense making the substitutions, or if they're not able to make substitutions, you're catching them in, whatever looks that they're already out on the field. So it was good to see that. And obviously to score on that kind of no huddled situation was impressive as well, because here's the thing. We've seen the slow starts now 3 weeks in a row from Jordan Love. First possession, nothing comes out of it. Kind of like, a missed throw here, or penalties here, and we don't get a first down. Maybe we only get one first down, whatever it may be. We see the second possession where we start to see the actual maturation of Jordan Love and understanding, okay, that's not going to get me, I'm not going to be stressed or, nervous now because I couldn't go opening drive and, go down, go 90 yards and get a touchdown. Hey, I can do that in the second possession, maybe even third possession, knowing that, hey, look, I've got the tools. I got the offensive line. I've got the weapons. I have the confidence in myself, and I trust the system. I trust Matt LaFleur's plays. We're going to run the plays, and I'm going to make the reads as I see him. I think that's really showing a big thing for him. And I think also I still like that he's throwing to guys after they don't have a catch, right? Like Christian Watson, the deep bomb. I do think if you look at the catch, or I guess the non-catch, he does have it in his hands. It's obviously kind of a shorter ball. I think he did, short him a little bit, but in the end, it hits your hands. And what does Madden say? If it hits your hands, you got to catch the ball. So I think the the way that he was falling backwards and he sees the two defenders, obviously that kind of rattled him a little bit, and maybe that's why he dropped the ball, but obviously the hit was coming as well. But you like to see maybe Christian Watson come down with that. Maybe in 2 years, that's a play that he makes in his sleep. He's still young too. It's not like we're expecting him to be Devontae Adams in year 2, but we're seeing the strides from him too. Because here's the thing, and Fred and I have said this, Matt as well. Like, whenever this guy goes deep, no one's catching this guy. And if it's because of the only reason people are catching up to him is because it's a short ball and it's not getting to him. And we've seen the issue with Rodgers, and we haven't seen it yet until this throw from Jordan Love, because the other one that he threw, he was a little bit long for him. So this has been the problem for speed receivers and our quarterbacks, is that they're so fast that we can't figure out the touch and the timing on the pass. But hopefully that is something that Jordan can figure out pretty quick here, because like I said, this kid can fly. No Romeo Doubs today. So Malik Heath, I think we have seen what we need to see out of Malik Heath. I don't know if Samori Toure really, I know they really like him, and I know he has some specialty to bring. Maybe it's in the special teams as a punt returner. He showed some promise in the few games that he played. Last year he had the nice touchdown against the Bills, but to me, Malik Heath just outplayed him, in my opinion, this preseason. And I think he is your fourth receiver. And I think he is clear cut your fourth receiver. Now, again, he's a rookie as well, but his blocking, his big playability, his size, I like that a little bit more than than Samori Toure. So I kind of like, what he's bringing. He had a couple drops today, so it was kind of nice to see him come back down to earth, because it seemed like that guy couldn't miss anything, and he was catching everything in sight. So interesting to see the other side of it, where you're having kind of a rough day, but still the guy was getting open. Jordan Love trusted to get him the ball. So did Sean Clifford. So it's good to see Malik Heath really get, a presence, because he came out with the ones, and that's kind of a big a pretty promising thing from your quarterback, saying, hey, look, I'm going to throw you out the ones. Romeo's not here. I really trust you. He could have thrown Toure out there, but he kind of liked Malik Heath as well. So that that touchdown drive, nice little look. It was kind of that was another one where I kind of thought, hey, if this pass was going to go anywhere, I thought it was going to go higher, and then it was more of one of those, Moss situations where he's just going to kind of like, catch it over the defensive back. But it was kind of a different one where he kind of threw it like more to the outside, kind of his right shoulder, and then it was more of just a play of, hey, is Christian Watson turning around faster than the DB, in which it happened to be. So still great catch, and kept his feet in bounds, obviously, for the touchdown. But nice to see that Jordan can kind of make a lot of different throws. He doesn't have to always, I feel like on the missed throws that we've seen in other games, it's been trying to bullet passes, trying to throw as hard as he can. And that was something that we saw with Brett Favre. The guy's got a rifle as an arm, and it's kind of, how do you tone that down? How do you find a happy medium with your touches? So, because that to me is going to be the difference maker for him, especially in the middle of the field with Luke Musgrave and Jaden Reed, Malik Heath, Romeo Doubs, whoever that is, stretching the middle of the field is getting those passes to them accurately, but not putting balls in places that they, can't make the play. Right. So big learning moment for Jordan Love over the preseason. So hopefully he can take this, last really good outing as well. He's had 3 touchdowns, three quarters of play, and this is really good reps for him. This is enough, in my opinion. Obviously, we don't have a 4th game of preseason, but this was enough for me to see, hey, look, we got Chicago Bears, not really known for their great defense right now, because they're kind of still trying to build that up, and they're getting younger again. But this is a good way to kind of see what you're going to have against a team that probably will put some points up. Let's just be honest. I think, them adding a couple new pieces on offense, and obviously Justin Fields maturing and in his next year of football, he's going to get better too. Like it's just a fact of things, right? You'd like to think, at least. He's going to get better, and he's going to obviously be running around. So they're probably going to score some sort of points in some sort of way. The question is, can Jordan Love answer with this offense? And this is Brett Favre, obviously. Uh, Darnell Mooney on the trade block. Interesting. Which is, I don't want him because I don't know. I think we have the guys that we want, but Darnell Mooney on the trade block could be interesting. I'm curious to see what they go with that route because here's the thing: outside of TJ Moore, what do they really have? Right? Like, what do they? Equinemius St. Brown. They have Chase Claypool, who can't get his head in the playbook and can't really keep his mouth shut. Cole Kmet, I think there's a big year two for him that he needs to show what he's really got. Big Bob Tanyan, we saw what he really was after his ACL injury. So I don't know. We'll see what they do there. It seems a little rash to just cut a guy that, was a pretty good like production player for you in years before DJ was there. So I don't know. That's up to them though. Ryan Poles, right? I think that's their GM. But we'll see what Jordan Love can do against the Bears. Let's flip it over to the defensive side of the ball. A really good bounce back game from Carrington Valentine. I think we talked about it last week as like a humbling moment to see like, okay, man, welcome to the NFL. You're not always going to have a great day. You might get picked on being a rookie, and sometimes all your risk plays that you try to go for sometimes don't end up the best way, and sometimes it ends up being a touchdown or a penalty or whatever it may be. Really nice bounce back this week, and could have been a pick six right away to start the game. And I think everybody and their mother thought, hey, look, it hit him right square in the hands. He saw daylight. I think he's probably thought touchdown before securing the ball. Just like every cornerback's mistake, they always think, they see the end zone and they're just like, I want to get there, but they forget that they have to actually complete the catch. So I really like seeing that from Carrington Valentine. I don't see him being cut. There's no way in God's green earth can this guy leave your team. You make the roster figure out what you need to do to keep him on the 53. Because here's the thing: I think it's never going to hurt you to have depth, right? You can't have enough good players, and with the cornerback room, because you don't know what Eric Stokes, when is he going to come back? They have not taken him off the PUP list, so if they were going to do that and have him be ready for week 1, they probably should have been doing that either last week or today even. But if you ask me today, looking at next Sunday, I don't see him coming off the PUP list. I just don't. I don't know if he's ready, and I don't think the Packers are ready to take him off. Medical staff, I guess, is not ready to take him off, and that's why you have a Carrington Valentine, a guy like this that can literally step in week 1 and fill in for good snaps for you, and then have Rasul Douglas and Jair and Keyshawn Nixon all in that rotation, and then you have security there. What I'm really worried about is, hey, when Eric Stokes comes back, who's the odd man out? Because that's another thing too. It's hard to keep good players on the field when there's only so many positions to keep. When we know what the problem is, and that's at safety, I know a lot of people have kind of been back and forth. Do you move Rasul to safety? Do you keep him at corner? Do you keep, if you have a guy rising like Carrington Valentine, maybe you keep him as a boundary corner, and then you have that ability to move Rasul Douglas to safety. I want to see what we have in the safety room first. I know Matt's going to kill me here for saying this, but I want to see rock bottom before we make a move like that. Because here's the thing: at corner, I'd rather be sure-handed at corner and know that we can lock down and be this, no fly zone kind of, secondary. And it doesn't even get past us into the safety area, like deep balls, whatever it may be. And I'm hoping, based on our really young and kind of exciting D line and our outside linebackers, that they're making enough pressure on the quarterback that he doesn't even have enough time to look deep down the field. That's where I want to get to first before I just move Rasul Douglas, back to safety. So if we can get to that point, which I don't want to get to that point, but if we do get there, maybe we can reconsider and start changing. And if there's anybody that can move back there, it would be Rasul, right? Traveling player. He's been a vet in this league. He understands, potentially probably does understand position changes compared to like Carrington Valentine, who's a rookie and who's, only really ever played corner. So that's another thing too. Like, I feel safe about Rasul Douglas moving to safety, that he could probably make the transition okay. But it's one of those things, if they didn't do it right away in the beginning of training camp, I can't see them doing it anytime soon because they would have gotten him ready right away and like tested him out there. I think they like what they see in the safety room, which I don't, but I do think they're going to just try and see what guy kind of sticks in that position. And hopefully Darnell Savage really comes back with a vengeance. Maybe the dreads are what he needed because he needs to step up his gameplay. Van Ness not performing is a wash with all the surprises we've had in the roster. I think it's a blessing in disguise, though, because now don't get me wrong. What Matt was saying last week, he kind of just wishes we just had a guy that came in right away as a first round draft pick and just killed it. I completely agree. I do. It would just be nice not to get the project guy and then we just plug and play day one and he's going out there trying to get like a sack or two. However, like I'm saying, Van Ness has this time to learn. You have Gary that looks to be coming back. I don't know how this guy's coming back week one, but it looks like it's trending in that direction. Now, who knows? Maybe maybe he might not come back. Who knows? But you have Preston Smith. You have him. You have Enigbare, who is absolutely catapulted in year two and showing his force. Now, granted, not everything was against first round picks except for that Patriots game, but or not first round picks, but first stringers. But you'd like to think that his motor, his drive, his passion, and his work ethic will, produce. And hopefully that he can kind of show that even against the bigger talent over the season. So he takes a big step. And obviously you have Justin Hollins and you have Brenton Cox, who, probably a practice squad guy, but maybe he's on the roster. Who knows? But you don't really need Van Ness to be that guy right away, right? You don't need him to be just like Rashawn Gary was in his, young rookie year. It was that, hey, you had Preston and Z there. You don't need him to be the guy right away. Yes, was anything showing on the tape and on the field? Not really. I mean, maybe he had a couple nice rushes. He was able to show his speed and his strength, but yes, I think he also needs to show that he has multiple tools in his repertoire as well. I do think he needs to be able to show multiple ways of rushing the quarterback because I think that's that young player mentality that, oh, I got this one move. I'm going to go use this move and it's going to work all the time. No, young fella. Tackles understand one move and then they obviously counter. So you need to be able to counter back with something else too. So, oh, look at that. Kingsley Enigbare, top-rated defender in the league throughout the preseason. Yeah, hopefully you'd like to see him take this step into the regular season against number ones and see what he can do. Because, again, he doesn't even have to be the guy either. You have Rashawn Gary, you have Preston Smith. Whatever you get from Van Ness and Enigbare is just a bonus. And maybe they turn into a really big rotational guy where you can give him multiple snaps and and they're not just like, third down, give a guy a break snaps, right? Like that's kind of what we always see with third and fourth stringers, but maybe they can be utilized a little bit better. So hopefully we see that jump from them, just like I want to see the big jump from Devontae Wyatt. Because here's the thing. If there's one thing that we have seen with Carl Brooks and why am I missing his name here? I have it. Carl Brooks and Colby Wooden. They want his position, right? They want his spot or they want his snaps, whatever it may be. Maybe they don't want his position, but they definitely want his snaps. And Devontae Wyatt, who had kind of from what I'm hearing, kind of like he had some good days, had some quiet moments, had some good days, quiet moments. So I'd like to see where he's at in his second year because here's the thing. Now that he's kind of the guy, no more Mean Dean Lowry, right? So you cut him. Now you're giving him this spot, and he's such a big guy, and he's got actually some really nice moves, and he really actually moves well with his feet for being a big guy. I'd like to see him really take that step because he's, right now you got two other young rookies that are looking to get in and get some playing time. You have TJ Slayton, who's also trying to grave dig his way onto the starting team as well. So it's nice to see a full rotation with these guys because now hopefully, I'm not going to get there yet, but hopefully we've seen maybe some battering mates with Kenny Clark that we've been waiting for a very long time because the guy needs some help and he can't do everything on his own. Yes, let's and I'm sorry that I'm not clicking on your comment to show everybody what we're doing here, but yeah, Michael, inside linebacker position. So that is something we haven't really seen a lot in preseason. I think Quay has got to be the guy, right? I think Devontae Campbell has kind of had a quiet year last year. Now, it's kind of hard when you have like an all-pro year and then the next year everybody just expects you to be all-pro level again. But it's hard in the NFL, man. Everybody's trying to be the best version of themselves. Everybody's trying to be an all-pro. Everybody's trying to get paid and show that they belong in this league. Same thing with Devontae Campbell. I'm not worried about him. I hope I think it was an ankle injury, right? Not a dislocated ankle, but I'm pretty sure it was an ankle. So hopefully he is ready for week 1. If he's not, that's going to be more time for guys like, obviously Quay Walker and Isaiah McDuffie coming in, and maybe even see the hybrid Tariq Carpenter come in, a little bit smaller linebacker, but maybe he gets a couple snaps because maybe this is the position that they maybe, find a fit for. I don't know. But so I don't know. I don't hate the linebacker room because I do like the top as far as, at the bottom of the roster, as far as like Isaiah McDuffie and Eric Wilson and Tariq Carpenter. That's a lot of unknowns. I think Isaiah McDuffie has shown some nice things. I think he's shown that, okay, I'm definitely a backup, but if he had to be in the starting role, now I'm starting to get a little bit more nervous. But again, that's kind of like the league anyway with your third string middle linebacker or any position in the third string, right? So I think the defense has shown a lot of promise, though. I think with shutting down on the corners, and if it's getting pressure with our linebackers and D line, you're seeing a difference in Joe Barry's style. And maybe it's because he's in the booth. I don't know. Maybe he says he likes it up there. He likes calling plays. He can see the field better. I don't know. And he's listening to his players, right? We're seeing more press man. We're not seeing the 10 yards off like we've been seeing for almost a decade. And you're thinking to myself, well, they only need 3 yards, but here we are 10 yards back, and boom, quick slant or like an out route or in, and boom, here's your first down for you. That was just gift wrapped by the Packers. Hopefully we don't see that. I like that most of our corners, if not all of them, want to be in your face, including this rookie Valentine. They want to get up in your face. They want to just smash you and just say, look, if you're going to beat me, then beat me. Because I'm not going to let you just get your 5 free yards, 10 free yards, whatever it is. And then I'm going to try to play cornerback. That's, in my opinion, I've never liked that. I understand that there's zones and coverages that, like kind of ask for that kind of coverage, but I just don't like it. I just want you to be, in a guy's face and say, look, I'm an athlete. You're an athlete. You want the ball? I want the ball. If you're going to get it, then you're going to beat me. And let's just see what happens in the 5 seconds it takes to run a route, 4 seconds, whatever it is. And we'll see who the best man is. So that's how I feel about the cornerback position. I hope Joe Barry does, now that he's kind of listened to his teammate or his players, and they've had a more vocal presence kind of more at the end of last season and now into training camp. So it's good to see that the communication's better. And I hope that they don't feel confused or lost in the system like they said that they were last year. I hope everybody understands what is expected of them. Okay. Final note. It was also nice to see Brenton Cox. Huge part in why that pick happened at the end of the game to kind of seal the game. But I like his motor, man. I really do. I like that he's everywhere. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the strongest guy, but he honestly is an athlete. And I think that's why they took him as an undrafted free agent. If he can keep his head right, we've been saying it all along. This guy is one of those guys. He's in my top 5 of guys that you just cannot put on the practice squad because they're going to get stolen. I'm going to tell you this right now. And I'll tell you guys with my 53-man prediction why I'm going that route. But Brenton Cox had a huge, he was the one who applied the pressure to, I forget that lefty quarterback for Seattle. That ended up being that interception for us to close out the game. So really nice motor from him. I'm really hoping that, Brian and Matt see that way as well, or even Joe Barry, whoever has decision on the defense. But overall, solid game for the Packers, honestly. I mean, for a preseason game, again, you're really just trying to see your battles. You're trying to see your position battles and see what you need moving forward down the long haul, especially at depth for each position. I think you're definitely trying to look for uh, Jordan Love to improve his um, I guess, game over this preseason and still get more snaps, get more reps with these receivers and these young tight ends and an offensive line that is pretty young itself too, that they're trying to figure out themselves. And I think another thing too with center, I don't know, man. Thank you, Iowa. I don't know what we're gonna do at center. Is Josh Myers the guy? I hope for his sake he is, because it is a good problem to have, that that you can put Zach Tom or Elton Jenkins or Rasheed Walker, whoever, or even Sean Ryan. Maybe they can all play center. I don't know. I feel like it's only really Zach Tom and Elton Jenkins that can do it, but I wish just the guy that we drafted would do it, because that would just make things easier. And then we can worry about right tackle or right guard and figure out who's the long-term situation at left tackle after Bakhtiari leaves. Like, let's follow those rules and just hope that the second round pick that we put in or invested into Josh Myers just pans out, right? Because Creed Humphrey, just telling you right now, Creed Humphrey is looking like the guy. I don't know. I hate doing that, because you can go down a long list of the guys that we drafted that other people could have drafted and they didn't, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But we're always going to say it anyway, right? TJ Watt, Kevin King, Creed Humphrey, Josh Myers, Barry Sanders, Deion Sanders. And I don't forget that dumb lug's name from that tackle. Anyway, we'll see what happens there. I do think there's a world that we could see Josh Myers getting benched. I do think there is a world where that happens. And does that mean Zach Tom gets inserted there and we put Rasheed Walker somewhere? I don't know. I really don't. I also see a world where we don't have Josh Nijman. I think with teams that are that desperate for a tackle, if I'm Brian Gutekunst, I keep the phone line open, because maybe you could trade player for player. Hey, we got a pretty glaring position in the defense, and that's called safety. Maybe you give us a safety that you like, and I give you a tackle that I like, and bada bing, bada boom, we make it happen. I don't know. I really don't. I just think Josh Nijman, if they would have given him the starting job on some of these preseason games, I feel like they have more confidence in him. But I think they just really like Rasheed Walker. And I think Zach Tom is kind of officially their guy at right tackle. And I think Rasheed Walker is just more of a, okay, let's just keep seeing what this guy has. And clearly, if no one calls on Josh Nijman, okay, whatever, we still have this guy as our swing tackle. And boom, we have one of the best depths for the offensive line around the league. Whatever it is, that's fine. But don't be surprised if you see that name come up on Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport or whoever else, that he's traded to a contender or even a team that just needs to start fresh on offensive line and needs a young, ascending player. Still needs some work, obviously. But I think people don't. If you're thinking that teams are not looking at the Packers, especially with their players, you're very mistaken, because the way, especially offensive line, I think this is, how they always say, like, linebacker for colleges that just spit out linebackers, right? Or even like running back, whatever it may be, whatever position you want to enter in. Offensive line is definitely one of those things that we've just done really well, and I think you guys have already heard this in ad nauseum, but I think seeing what we do with our offensive linemen, especially late day offensive linemen, is pretty impressive. So I really wish I could be a fly in the wall in the war room, or just in the GM's office, or whoever takes the calls. I mean, if it's Milt Hendrickson, or if it's Russ Ball, or if it's Brian Gutekunst, whoever's taking these calls, or if it's one of the other assistants, just to see how many calls come in a day, because that would be kind of cool too. Like, how many offers come in a day, even if it's dumb ones. Like, like when we're talking fantasy football with like our friends, and I'm always just like, I'm at work and I talk to people that I'm in a work league, and I'm like, all right, I'll offer you X and X for CD Lamb. And they're like, why in God's name would I do that? I'd love to know how much of that kind of goes around in the real world, in NFL GM world. of offers that come out. Like, hey, I'd give you 2 firsts for Jordan Love right now. Who says no? And Brian Gutekunst just, dead silence, just says, thanks for your time. I'm going to go now. Or whatever it is. I don't know. I mean, I just like to know if that kind of stuff happens, just like we as GMs of our fantasy teams are just like, blow me, guy. I'm not going to give you said player or whatever it is. But anyway, let's move on. That was a Seahawks game. It's good to get the W at home in front of the fans. Kind of a nice closing moment for the team. They've had a long training camp. They've had a long preseason. The football season is, less than 10 days away. I think they're all ready to kind of move on, actually hit someone else and play meaningful football and, try to get the chase for the Super Bowl. Like that's what everybody wants now. So nice way to end it. And I really did love Matt LaFleur's overall just composure over the preseason training camp and just in general in the offseason. I mean, you lose your number one quarterback. He wants to leave. You make it happen. You send him to the Jets. I mean, I think deep down, he always was kind of like, hey, you know what? If he goes, I got Jordan Love. I got the guy that I want. I got the guy that's going to probably listen to my offense and my calls and my rules. Would it have been nice to keep Rodgers? I'm sure. You got a Hall of Fame quarterback. Let's run it back. Let's keep running. Obviously, we always think, hey, just like the Jets are thinking, now we have a chance, right? We have this guy in our locker room. Let's give it a chance. But I think it's a nice start over. And I think Matt LaFleur handled it very well. And I hope that this team is listening to him the way they should. And I hope this whole saga of Rodgers and Favre and everything that's kind of transpired in the last 30 some years turns into another 16 some years with this quarterback, and that we are on the verge of another one here in the NFC North. So 53-man roster. I'll try to make this quick because we're going to maybe have a little surprise here from one of our friends here, Mr. Strasburg. So I'll make this quick. I think it's pretty obvious with a lot of these picks. I don't think there's anything that was, glaringly like, oh my God, Sanjay, you really have this guy there? Like, no, I think it was pretty obvious. And I think if anything, it was really fringe guys that I think would still be on our practice squad because I don't think anybody wants them. And, it was just really a matter of, do you want to keep them on the practice squad or do you want to keep them on the roster? Because there was only 3 guys that I said that I needed on my roster. Okay. And one of them was not Josiah DeGuara. So just remember that. 3 players that I said will not leave this roster, will not even sniff the practice squad. That was Caleb Jones, that was Brenton Cox, and Carrington Valentine. Those are my 3 players I had to make sure on the 53 had to stay. So the rest of the 50, whatever. But those 3 at your premier positions, left tackle, corner, and left tackle, corner, and outside linebacker. 3 positions that it's very hard to find guys. And when you do, you hold on to them. So I still want to see what Caleb Jones does. I really do. I do want to see him kind of like what they did with Yosh Nijman. I really want to see this project, turn itself. Maybe he sucks in a year. I don't know. Whatever it is, let's see what happens because I want to see a 6'8", 6'9", behemoth be our tackle someday. All right. Love Clifford. Pretty obvious. Jones and Dylan. I only kept 2. Not keeping Wilson, not keeping Patrick Taylor. Running backs are easy to find. So, if they somehow get, scooped up in practice squad or whatever, all right, you know what? Good job. You put some good tape out there. I hope you make it, young fella, on whatever team you go to. But I doubt it. I really feel like those guys will be on the practice squad and we'll be fine. A note here, because technically Josiah DeGuara is listed as the H-back, but they don't actually have that position. You could insert him here or at the tight end position because yes, I kept Josiah DeGuara. So you're welcome, Fred. Receiver, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Mr. Malik Heath. I have him first before Samori Toure. I am keeping Samori Toure and I'm keeping Dontavian Wicks. I'm putting Grant DeBose on the practice squad. I know this is kind of going against what Gutekunst has done in the past with his draft picks. He usually keeps his draft picks, But because of the injury early in camp, early in the offseason, I guess, and then it bled into camp, he didn't get the time and reps. So I did think he had a really nice game against the Patriots, I think, right? The Patriots. So I do think he belongs on the practice squad. And if you want to interchange any of the three, Wicks, Dubose, and Samari, go ahead. Do what you want to do. But those three are kind of my guys that are like fringe in and outs. Tight end, obviously, the Bash brothers here, Musgrave and Kraft, and obviously Josiah DeGuara. Austin Allen, though. Austin Allen is staying on this practice squad. What is he, 6'8", tight end? You keep that. You keep that and see whatever you can do to keep that on the roster, or at least on the practice squad, or maybe no one touches him because they don't really know anything about him. But offensive line, Bakhtiari, Elton, Josh Myers, Zach Tom, Rasheed Walker, Yash Nyman, Caleb Jones, John Runyon Jr., and Sean Ryan. I'm keeping all those guys. I think it's a great crew. I think Sean Ryan is a nice project as well. Hopefully, now that he's gotten the growth hormone stuff or whatever he did, PEDs, whatever it was. Now that that's over, hopefully he can just focus on ball and he can focus on being a better guard, maybe tackle. I don't know. D-line, Kenny, Devontae, TJ Slayton. I'm just going to call him Gravedigger now. Colby Wooden and Carl Brooks. Easy. Nothing to say there. There's no hesitation there. Outside linebacker, Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, Luke Van Ness, Kingsley Enagbare, Brenton Cox. I told you, I'm keeping him on this squad. And Justin Hollins. I do think Justin Hollins has a place on this team. I do. Inside linebacker. This one was kind of a weird one for me, but I did it. Deronda Campbell, Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie. I'm keeping the specialist here, Tariq Carpenter. I don't know what position he's going to be good at. I really don't. Hopefully he's good at this one. And Eric Wilson. I like him. Defensive back. Ja, Zool, Nixon, Valentine. And yes, I can't believe I'm doing this because it annoys the F out of me, but we're keeping Corey Ballantyne as well. So yeah, as much as I hated it in a game, I'm keeping it on my roster. Valentine and Ballantyne are both on the roster. And Shamar Jean Charles. I know. He kind of sucks. But we have the room, so shut up. I don't like him either, but we're keeping him. And he's a draft pick of Gutekunst. So I think he's staying for at least one more year. Safeties. This is the biggest question. Darnell Savage, Rudy Ford, Dallin Levitt for the special teams. Ennis Gaines, Anthony Johnson Jr., Jonathan Owens. Those are your safeties. Hopefully 2 of them figure it out. I like Anthony Johnson Jr. I like the draft pick. I like what he brings. Jonathan Owens, I really don't see it, and I don't want to cut him because then we lose Simone Biles. So I'm keeping him on the roster for Simone. You're welcome, Simone. Special teams. Anders Carlson, Matt Ozrick, and I had Pat O'Donnell, but he got cut, so I was wrong. Dan Whelan. That's your team right there. We'll see. I mean, I don't think there's going to be anything crazy out of this 53. You know, I mean, maybe there's someone I get wrong in there. I will just tell you this right now. I will go on the show next week. If we cut Caleb Jones, Carrington Valentine, or Brenton Cox, I think the one that might actually happen is Brenton Cox, unfortunately. But I will be pretty upset. I will. So just remember that. All right. Without further ado, we got the 53-man roster. Let's see what pans out over this week and / weekend. And then we'll touch base on it next week a little bit. If there's anything crazy. I mean, if it's pretty obvious and everything that I kind of predicted here is right, then I should get a job at 365 Lombardi or whatever. And, hire a guy. I'm available. But if I'm wrong and there's something really crazy out there, like we cut AJ Dillon or something, then we'll talk about it. Okay. We will We'll say something about it before the show, before we do our preview for the Bears. And we'll even get Matt and Fred's opinion on it, even though we don't care about their opinion. Just kidding. All right. With that being said, an opinion that we do care about and we haven't heard in a long time. We used to have something. We had the Polar Express. Polar Express. I think it's the Polar Plunge, not the Polar Express. It's not a Christmas movie. The Polar Plunge with Andrew Strasburg. He is back. He is engaged. He is ready to start his next chapter in his teaching career. We're really excited for him. He's a good friend of mine. I'm glad that we have him back on the show more frequently. Andrew Strasburg, everybody.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, all right. Well, first off, I also have an issue here because I don't know my speakers are not working here. Sorry, technical difficulties. We'll make this happen though. Hang on. 3, 6, 9.
Check.
All right, go ahead. Can you go ahead?
Hello.
All right, good. I can hear you.
Hey.
All right, so Andrew, I heard that you have some questions for us.
I do. So obviously it's been a long time since we did the Polar Plunge. Just not Christmas, so we can't do the Polar Express.
Yeah.
Maybe the Christmas game if they even have a Christmas game this year.
No, we do not. No Christmas game.
Oh, then maybe around Christmas time we'll do the Polar Express and change the name up a little bit.
Maybe we can.
But yeah, Scott, just 5 quick little questions for you, and we can get started if you're ready.
Oh wait, hang on. There was one really funny thing that we wanted to share with everybody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I forgot to share this when I did my cuts, and apparently the Spot Track, if you want to look up like contracts and things and salaries of players, usually you like Google it, and what's the first thing that comes up is usually Spot Track. And they usually have like a player profile, and they show like what his contract is, when's the last time he signed, what he has left, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, they had Pat O'Donnell's on there, and it was hilarious because I want to share this quick right here. That is not Pat O'Donnell.
That is not.
That's a black dude. I'm just saying right now, like that is not. No, I don't know what in the
No, when I clicked on it, I'm like, who is that? I'm like, that is not him. What is that?
Anyway, so I just want to share that quick, but they might want it. Spot Track, if you're watching the show, which you're not, but maybe you might be.
Maybe someday.
Change that. All right, go ahead.
All right, so first one, if you're ready, is over under 30 touchdown passes for Jordan Love.
Wow. I think he really could come out there. It goes two ways, right? Either he could come out and absolutely sling it on fire like Patrick Mahomes did when he came out, and like, I don't even remember what Patrick Mahomes threw his first year. Was it the 50 and he got the MVP?
I will quickly look it up first.
Or was it the 30 something and then he was like, everybody was like, yo, this guy's it. And then he went on to have the 50 year and throw for, that thing. He threw for like 50 some TDs and then they had an MVP. I don't know. Either way.
His first starting year, he threw 50.
Boom. He probably won MVP, would be my guess.
Yeah.
So 50 some TDs, and yeah, maybe he could go that route, or he could be absolutely dog shit and throw for like 14 like Justin Fields or something, and then have like I don't know, 20 interceptions. It could go both ways. I don't think he would go that way because I think he's really comfortable in the system. I think it would be more of the receivers because they're very young still, and maybe they don't like. Maybe they're not figuring out the offense as well as they should have, or maybe they're just getting, eaten up in the coverage. I don't know. I just don't think it's a Jordan Love problem, but maybe I'm wrong. So to answer your question, over under, I'm going to say over. I'm going to say 32 touchdowns.
I like it because when I thought of it, I'm like, that's kind of the standard for like a starter quarterback.
I think so. I think 30 is not that hard hard. I mean, I don't think it's a unreasonable number.
No. All right, second one. Who do you think will have a better year, Dobbs or Reed?
Oh, man. The connection between him and Dobbs seems so like Devontae Rogers-like, but then the intrigue of Jaden Reed seems to be – I'm going Dobbs, though. I think Dobbs will be – like when it's like Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison, and I think like I just feel like Reggie Wayne is Christian Watson, and Marvin Harrison is Romeo Dobbs. I feel like that's it. But anyway, go on.
No, like for me, I think Dobbs might lead the team, and
that's what I'm saying, man. This guy's got the best hands on the team. He has the best hands. But Jayden Reed,
like last year, Dobbs was like leading for a while, and then he got hurt, and then Watson got healthy, and Dobbs kind of fizzled away a little bit. So
I know exactly. Dobbs had the injury, so I think that's obviously what hurt him a little bit. But like, I think Jayden Reed kind of showed this in the Seahawks game that he can drop the ball, because he had not had any drops either in preseason, which was awesome. So, so now I officially have just given the title of best hands on the team to Romeo Dobbs.
Okay. Next one, between Devontae Wyatt or Lucas Van Ness, who will have more sacks?
Well, I think Devontae Wyatt will have more playing time than Lucas Van Ness, but Luke Van Ness.
Is it just Luke?
You know what? I'm going to say Devontae Wyatt. You know what? Put it on the big fella. Maybe he might show out. Because I don't know if like Van Ness is going to have enough snap. I mean, like he plays a position where literally he can get sacks, and he's, yeah, that's still tough. I would still go with Devontae Wyatt. You know what? That's actually going to be a fun one to check out at the end of the year, because I don't know if he's going to have a whole heck of a lot of snaps, but maybe he might.
Next one is, who would have more rushing touchdowns, Jones or Dillon?
Oh, well, you know what they do. They hide Aaron Jones a lot. Like they'll just take him out of the game for like 2 quarters. Like I don't understand Matt LaFleur's thought process. Like, you don't have to always give the ball to AJ Dillon. You know that, right? If this was Jamal Williams, I would have said Jamal Williams. If it's AJ Dillon, sometimes I just feel like he doesn't run the way he's supposed to. Those are blankets. Thank you, guy. I guess I will go. You know what? No, we're changing the narrative. It's a whole new Matt LaFleur. He has his guy. We're going AJ. We're going Aaron Jones. We are going to go Aaron Jones. I think he's going to put him in the lineup, and he's actually going to use him. Now, is he going to give him 30 carries? No, but I think Aaron Jones will end up. Wait a minute. Did you say rushing touchdowns?
I said rushing touchdowns.
Rushing touchdowns.
Not overall, just rushing.
I'm still going with it. I know what's going to happen. It's going to be AJ Dillon. I know it. But you know what? I'm going against the narrative.
I like it. All right. The last one is, who is a player you want to for sure make the team this year? Like the player that's on the bubble.
Brenton Cox. I think Carrington Valentine's already on the team because of the Eric Stokes injury. It would be a very interesting debate if Eric Stokes was healthy. Because then you're starting to really question because now you're starting to question, is he better than Keyshawn Nixon? And then that not saying that Keyshawn Nixon doesn't have a place on the team because he's your returner, but because Keyshawn Nixon's like your slot corner now, now you're starting to compare him there. Whereas right now you need a Carrington Valentine to be potentially a boundary corner for you. Yeah, so I don't think his spot is really in jeopardy right now. So Brenton Cox, I could see some weird crap where they just, don't take the flyer on him. So I'm gonna say him.
All right, that was it.
All right, hey, Polar Plunge, Polar Express, Andrew Strasburg. Hey, Andrew, congratulations on the engagement. That's pretty exciting stuff. When is the date? Can we get a
December 9th of this year?
So holy moly, it's already coming up. That's right, because he just had his bachelor party, and geez, it's gonna be, December weddings actually end up being really beautiful, because sometimes the snow is, works out and it's not like a snowstorm and it shuts down your wedding kind of thing. But like you get enough snow and then like it's like a nice background for your pictures. So I hope everything goes well for that. I really do.
You're invited to it. Did you guys get that?
We did, actually.
Awesome.
So
I've been hearing a good room or good things about those things that we sent out. So
all right. that is going to do it for us for the show, honestly, because we don't have nothing left to talk about. We will be back. Hopefully, I'll have the running mates back here with us next week. I really appreciate everybody sticking around for the solo show with Sanjay, and nice little cameo here from Andrew. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this little week off of football. Go do all your stuff now. Do your family stuff now. Tell your wife or tell your husband even. Hey, we're not doing anything next week because we have football all weekend. So let's try to get all our fun stuff done this weekend where there's no football on. I know there's college football, but I don't care about college right now. So get that stuff done. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy this time. We'll be back on Monday, and we'll talk some Bears Packers, right? The oldest rivalry in sports. So thanks again to Andrew. And like always, go Pack, go.